Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The number of jobs created last month is slightly fewer than expected, but nearly double the prior month as the labor market continues a gradual recovery from the pandemic. The unemployment rate fell to 5.8%. A drop in virus cases and federal stimulus are helping unleash a pickup in consumer spending, and that in turn is prompting a demand for workers. A mix of reasons is keeping millions at home, including a desire for remote work when most employers want people in person.
Jobs are up. That's good. Yay! Listen to my voice. Allergies, man, I tell you. I am Optimus Prime. I could do Jobtimus Prime. People are not working. Why? Yeah, jobs are up a little bit. Remote working, I'm telling you guys, I am telling you how many people. So we've got like two giant buildings. I mean, it depends, like, they're big enough buildings on both sides, and while the parking lot's fuller, I've talked to more people who run businesses who are saying not only is it frustrating for them in hiring new workers, but what they're saying is the workers they currently have are saying, I don't want to come back to the office. So you got to figure it out. And I'm like, oh God, that's crazy. But jobs coming back. This is what we want, right? This is it. Jobs back now. Great. Now what? Now back to normalcy. Now back to the things that we used to do. That's fantastic. Now back to arguing amongst ourselves over other things. Like, I don't know, are UFOs real? We're going to touch on that in a minute. Things are looking good. But we still have issues out there. One of them is the fact that your dollar isn't going as far as it used to. And I talk about this, and it's important because, well, people fight over the audit. And is Trump going to be president in August? He's going to be reinstated. I'm here to tell you that's not happening. So if you believe that, that's not happening. It's not. There is no mechanism to have that happen. Even Laura Trump came out yesterday and said, nah, it's not happening. People still believe it. The everyday person, though, you and I going to work going, man, I'm paying $3.50 for gas when I should be paying $2.50. Shrinkflation, as we talked about the other day. Man, I'm paying, like producer Phil, what'd you buy the other night? Chuck roast? Is that what you said you bought?
Chuck roast it's the chicken wing. Well, chicken wings are expensive too, but it's a very weak cut of meat, and it's incredibly expensive. It's like $4.99 a pound.
What would it normally be?
Should be around $2.
There you go. That's frustrating for people. That's frustrating. That hits everybody. But think about who it really affects, right? You make $200,000 a year, $150,000 a year. You're living pretty good. A couple extra bucks here and there in your gas tank's not going to hurt you, right? Couple extra bucks at the grocery store. Yeah, you're like, You make $40,000 a year, $35,000 a year, and you're living in a position where you're not putting money away. You're just getting by. You feel that. These things matter.
Is there a way to estimate how long this inflation will last?
Well, we're just figuring this stuff out as we go, Shep. The hope is that by the early fall, we'll have these supply disruptions and other issues sorted out that are pushing up inflation. Issue we have is we opened the economy very suddenly, went from 0 to 60 in this economy faster than a Lamborghini with all the vaccinations and relaxations of social distancing rules.
Yeah. Is it going to last a long time? Is it solely on Joe Biden? No, but people are looking at Joe like everything else. Here's the deal. You're the guy now. Last guy's gone. You can only blame him for so much. You're the guy. People are looking around going, I'm paying more. Here's the thing we didn't think of. My voice, again, listen to it. It's fantastic. Here's the thing I think a lot of people didn't think of. In the short term, we needed to get through this. People are like, well, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for Joe. Yes, we would have. Remember, the vaccine was developed under the last guy. Right? So to say that we wouldn't be in this situation, Like, oh, yeah, we wouldn't have got, well, if he was president, we wouldn't have been vaccinated. We would never allowed, he wouldn't have allowed that. Yeah, we would be. So stop it. But you're the guy now, and people are looking at you, and they're starting to make comparisons, going, feels very Carter-esque. I'm feeling very Carter-esque right now. I'm feeling like I'm paying more. We're worried about what may happen at the gas pump, and is there going to be gas? Right? We've already seen that. And remember, we live in a world of perception, not reality. People perceive that all of this is because of Biden. No. But Biden's move from here on out in the short term are going to be important. And people are feeling it. They're feeling it in their pocketbook. And what is it always about? It's about the jobs and the economy, stupid.
Well, doesn't the Federal Reserve have some push for this? What are they doing to counter?
They could, but right now they think these bottlenecks are temporary. You have microchip shortages. Those are pushing down car productions, even idling some factories, and they're pushing up used and new car prices. There's a tremendous need for lumber out there from new home construction, but the lumber mills, they're not up to speed yet. So that's added as much as $36,000 to the cost of a new home.
Yeah. You think about that. All of that matters. Why does it matter? Because when people buy homes, what do they buy? Stuff to go in their homes. Very rarely does somebody go, you know what, I'm going to buy a new home and I'm just going to take all my old crap and put it in there. No, they're like, I'm buying a house and I want new stuff. I want new stuff. I don't want the stupid white refrigerator. I want the silver refrigerator, right? I want new stuff. Well, when you can't get a new car because they don't have a microchip, when they can't get certain things, all of this stuff starts to add up. And while it's not Biden's fault, the reality is it's going to land at his doorstep. And the short-term thinking of, well, once we get through this thing, it'll be good to have somebody like Biden on board to get us through all of this stuff. And you're the man now. At the end of the day, people are looking at you. And what you do from here on out, what the Fed does, whatever, it matters. It does. And I've always said, people, you know what people want? They want to live their lives. A couple bucks in their pocket, knowing that they can pay for some stuff and that the job's okay. Kids are okay. That's what they want. Well, jobs are available, but the money's not like it is 6, 8, 9 months ago as far as how we can spend it and what we're spending it. We're looking around and it's starting to land at him. And as soon as this is over, the reality, and by that I mean we're almost back to a somewhat normal feeling. Then the heat's going to get put on from immigration to inflation. People are going to step back and go, well, he got us through that, but what are you going to do now? It's a fair question. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. To tell you guys this, UFOs, we're going to talk about it. Report to Congress. Is it? Isn't it? New York Times reported stuff today. How much do you really believe?
U.S. intelligence agencies will present a report to Congress by the end of the month on UFO sightings by members of the military. And according to the New York Times, that report will say the vast majority of documented incidents did not originate from the U.S. military, and the UFOs are not a result of secret government technology. But there's no definitive assessment on whether they are alien life or not.
Yeah. Now, here's my question to you guys out there. Would you rather it be aliens or China? Would you rather it be aliens or North Korea? Would you rather it be aliens or Russia? Those are fair questions. Absolute fair questions to ask. Because I was talking to a couple people in the newsroom today. So I wandered over there to get my iced tea. And Jim Cross, who's a Radio Hall of Famer out here in Arizona, and, so one of those cool old-timers, talks like this, walks around, wears his cowboy hat, likes to chase fires. He and I were chatting about it, and he said, tell you what, I'd rather it be an alien than know that our know that our military has nothing to do with it, and it's not a weather balloon. That's the thing. Oh, it's a weather balloon. It's a weather balloon. So a weather balloon can go from 80,000 down to, oh yeah, it was a smudge. It was a smudge on the thing, on the camera. No, if it's not a weather balloon, which we don't think it is, and it's not aliens, which of course they don't want to tell you there's aliens. Why would they? Then it means it's our enemy. And if that's our enemy, then we better figure out what it's like to be subservient. If you think about it, if that's China and they have technology that can do that to our technology, who's winning? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Happy Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you guys what kind of Friday this is. It's a Donut Friday, but it's also National Donut Day. We're going to touch on that, the origins of said donut, why they're delicious, and I will tell you about the donut I had and how delicious it was. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Raycon best earbuds around. 45-day happiness guarantee. What's that mean? If you don't like them, you send them back. Get your money back. But you're not going to like them. You're going to love them. Different colors. They got new soft gel tips, so when you put them in your ears, they're even better. The noise isolating fit's incredible. They start well under $100. No stems, no wires, different colors, seamless Bluetooth pairing. And the case is a charger, right? So you charge up the case, you carry it around, not charge anything, put your earbuds back in. Oh, they're charging. Yes. You're going to love these things. Did I mention start well under $100? You're going to love, love, love them. So what I want you to do, buyraycon.com/Chad. You go there, save an extra 15%, make great Father's Day gifts. But summer's here, you're out and about, you're working. Get these, hear the difference, feel the difference on how you wear them and the sound you hear. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, Bob!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Donuts have their origins in the oily cakes Dutch settlers brought with them to America. The word donut making one of its first appearances in Washington Irving's 1809 book, A History of New York. But when it comes to that classic ring shape of the donut, we have to sprinkle some credit on the Gregory family name. 16-year-old Hanson Gregory was tired of the greasiness of those Dutch cakes, so he punched a hole in the middle of it with a tin box back in 1847. His mom Elizabeth then putting hazelnuts or walnuts in the center where the dough might not cook all the way through. She called the food donuts.
Yes, it is National Donut Day. How did we get here to National Donut Day? It was celebrated in the United States of America on the first Friday of June each year. Why? Well, National Donut Day was an event created by the Salvation Army in 1938 to honor those of their members who served donuts during World War I. And remember, we touched on World War I yesterday. Remember how that ended with the Tyrannosaurus Rex being commanded by the United States Army and their allies to defeat the Germania. About 250 Salvation Army volunteers went to France because of the difficulties of providing freshly baked goods from the huts established in abandoned buildings near the front lines. The two Salvation Army volunteers, Ensign Margaret Sheldon and Adjutant Helen Purvance, came up with the idea of providing donuts. These are reported to have been an instant hit, and soon many soldiers were visiting the Salvation Army huts. Margaret Sheldon wrote, "One busy day, I made 22 pies, 300 donuts, 700 cups of coffee. Soon the women who did this work became known as Donut Dollies." A little bit of history for you. And yes, kids, I had an amazing an amazing, incredible donut today. It's one of those ones. I got a big cinnamon roll, and it was warm. Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Let's keep doing that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Jobs report, a little bit obviously better than last month. Maybe not as many as we thought, but it's happening. You got to think about the workers as well, right? As many employers across this country are trying to fill positions. How are they going to do that? And what's going on with the workers? Are you asking them how you doing?
Now, it's a lot harder for some of the smaller businesses out there to offer incentives like these. And the trouble with all of this is that it creates a problem. First of all, businesses can't reach customers. They can't meet that rising demand, and they can burn out the workers they do have if they don't have enough people to fill the roles.
Yeah. And one of the things that's happening right now when it comes to workers is burnout in some areas, but also businesses are struggling to grow. And we've seen that here on the local level where, you get endorsements and companies are like, look, we can't, we're going to have to pull back for a month or two. And you start talking to them and they're like, we don't have enough people to run leads. We got our people working so many hours. It's insane. And for a younger generation, let me tell you something. It's interesting to hear what it is they're interested in. And it is money. We're going to touch on that because we have a buddy who sells, I do a big car dealership out here. And what he told me, I think most people would go, are you kidding me? Really? How can I get that gig? How much? Wait till you hear this story. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. More about the Wuhan origins. We're going to touch on that. Tell you what, it's interesting. This thing starts to grow some momentum. Jobs, and yes, UFOs. Kids, it's a power-packed Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Why is this so hard? Why is it so hard to find the source of this outbreak that's killed more than 3 million people around the world, 600,000 people here in the United States, has upended our lives and our economy? Is it because China is so opaque? Is it because WHO is not sharing information? Why is this so difficult?
There are several reasons, Willie, why it's difficult. I think one of the things is that we need better access to all the information. I mean, it's obviously in China's interest to find out exactly what it is.
Why is it in their... Well, yeah, of course. It's in their interest to find out. Doesn't mean it's in their interest to share, especially if it gives them a black eye, if it makes China look bad. That's not in their interest. Is it? I mean, would you hey, we should find out what happened and then tell the world that, the stop down of the economy, the death of 2, 3, 4 million people by the time all is said and done? That's in whose interest? How's that in their interest? No, it's in their interest to find out how it started, where it started, and then find out who knows how all that stuff happened, and then bury those people so nobody knows. That's how you keep a secret, right? How do you keep a secret with 2 people in the room that know the secret? You kill one of them. Are you saying they're going to do that? You understand what I'm saying? The best interest of China is to figure it out and then kill any opportunity to find out the truth.
I think the accusatory part about it is only going to get them to pull back even more. We've got to do it in a combination of diplomacy, scientific, forensic investigation, and do it in a way that the people of good faith, not who want to do blame, but people in good faith are really trying to find out what the origin is. And we're seeing a lot of pointing of fingers and things like that. Keep an open mind and go after the truth.
Yeah. People aren't interested in that. First of all, we're a nation that also likes to blame, right? It's never my fault. Whose fault is it? It's Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault. It's whose fault? We're always looking for faults. Republicans, it's Democrats, it's the people who decided not to vote. It's this group. It's that. It's the white people. It's black people. It's brown people. It's the aliens' fault. Always looking for blame. It's different though. This is geopolitical ramifications that's massive. So, Dr. Fauci, everybody's looking at them. Everybody. You know, for all the Fauci emails, other memos that came out that are being overlooked are far more worrisome than the Fauci thing. But China's interested in keeping China, in particular the Communist Party, protected. They don't care about what politicians say over here. They don't care about what politicians say in Australia or Europe. They don't care about that. They care about protecting the brand, which is the Communist Party.
You say it's in China's interest, though. Would you agree, though, Dr. Fauci, it is in their interest to hide it if there was a lab leak or worse, if they were designing something in their lab so that the world, that America didn't know that it came out of their own lab? Wouldn't they want to conceal that?
I don't want to be speculating on that because every time I say something like that, you know it as well as I, it will get completely taken out of context. So, I mean, I'm going to leave that to other people and not surmise and guess whose interest it is. It's not helpful.
It's an easy answer, and it's not going to be taken out of context. Yeah, it's in their best interest. Okay? There's no way to take that out of context. Or no, it's not. Well, then you're protecting China. Of course he is. Partially, here's the thing, too. And this is where I'll come to Fauci's defense in this. Even though I think he has been, you know, at times he's been celebrated when he shouldn't have been, and I think at times he's been demonized when he shouldn't have been. Scientists come at things in a scientific way. Right? They're not interested in politics. They have to play politics now because that's the world that we live in. And to get the funding and the things they want, politics has become more important than the actual science itself. He wants to know. I think he probably does know. But he also works with and has worked with a lot of these people who he considers friends and colleagues he respects. So you walk a fine line there because he also realizes that if some of these colleagues and friends that he respects happen to be at fault for some of these things, or it got out that they were a little bit more, how should we say, loose-lipped, those people pay a price over there. I think we can all pretty much say to ourselves, if we're honest, again, I go back to it, if you had to put your house on it, if you had to put your house on this, that it came from a bat, right? At a time of the years that there wasn't bats around, from a wet market, and it spread extremely fast. Or that maybe some engineering had gone on in gain of function at the same place this supposedly started and spread, at the same place that happens to have a lab that studies this thing, and it got out. Where are you putting your money? Your house, if you will. Yeah. If you knew nothing about any of this, as far as the political ramifications, none of this stuff, they gave you two scenarios. Hey, these people here have a lab. 2 scenarios. And this lab studies these dangerous things and also does something called gain of function, where they supercharge these things, introduce them to stuff like human DNA, because they want to potentially stop what could be a pandemic. Or it's wintertime, and at the wet markets, a bat that is not around at wintertime was sold, and somebody apparently got it from there. And then it spread tremendously fast, even though in nature that doesn't happen. What would you say? Take out the politics. Oh. I'd say A. Yeah. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. So, what do we have? Jobs report out today. Recovery steady, but still, we're not quite where we need to be.
There are still 9.3 million, according to this labor report, unemployed Americans. That's still much higher than where things stood pre-pandemic, when it was 5.7 million people who were out of work. The unemployment rate now, 5.8%. You go back to February of 2020, the unemployment rate was 3.5%. So there's still a ways to go of climbing out of the deep wounds of the pandemic.
Yeah. There's a ways to go. It's coming. And here's something else we haven't thought about. The grace periods, the things that people have done over the last year and a half, where they've been given opportunities to essentially miss payments, those kind of things. We haven't felt the impact of that. It's a lagging situation. When we get up and running again and people are working again and people are getting their steady income, I think that's when it's going to start to dawn on people that, oh, there's stuff that people have to try to catch up with and things of that nature, that's going to really start to have us take a step back and go, okay, so this is what the economy, at least for this time, is going to look like. Now, that's not tomorrow, but there are still a lot of jobs out there and people still aren't getting back out there to work. And there are several reasons. Childcare, obviously, is one. I was reading yesterday that childcare facilities cannot get enough people to work there. And that sounds pretty much familiar with almost everything.
You have this issue around the unemployment benefits, which has been a hot button political issue, and one that we will really in a very short time see how big of a situation it has caused, as 25 states decided that they will be lessening those benefits over the course of June and July.
Yeah. And that's starting to happen in a lot of places. And what states are those? Red states. They feel like that's keeping people from working. And in some ways it is. Not all, but in some ways it is. And sometimes it's one of those things where you got to go, I got to get back to it. There's more to it, but that is a big issue. And we've touched on it on numerous occasions. If you're making something close to what you were making, but you don't have to spend on gas, and childcare may be an issue because you may not be able to get your kid in childcare because your facility's already filled up, the place you were taking your child, or it's gone, or whatever it is, summer school, all that stuff. These are all things that add up over time. But this is what we have to do. We have to get people back. And I do believe if we don't give some people a push, they'll ride this thing for as long as they can. And also, I think there are a lot of people out there who are saying, you know what, I'm going to ride this for as long as I can until I get the position I want and how I want it. I'm going to tell you a story when we get back. I'm telling you guys, the look on my buddy's face when he was telling me this was, are you kidding me? And it also goes back to a younger generation that believes in entitlement in ways that we never did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, Ruff Greens, RUFF, greens.com/Chad. You go there, Get yourself a free bag of Rough Greens. What's Rough Greens? It is, to me, it's been a godsend. It's Canine VitaSmart. It is incredible. It is a supplement that goes on your dog's food, right? So you just sprinkle it on there. It's natural. It's FDA-registered facility. You're talking about omega-3, 6, 9s, probiotics, digestive enzymes, vitamins, minerals, all of these incredible, amazing things that brings your dog's food to life. What's it done for my older dog, Doodle? His mobility is 1,000 times better. His hips, the joints in his hips, they don't hurt. His chronic arthritis that was just beating him up. He's healthier than he's been. And in 16 months, he went from a dog that we thought, well, we're going to keep him alive for as long as we can, but it was kind of becoming unbearable because he was biting all the time, to a dog now that looks like he's got plenty of life left in him. Right now, get a bag of Rough Greens free. All you do is pay for shipping. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Roughgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. When you do that, they're going to ship you the bag for free. They're going to ship you a bag free. You just pay for the shipping. They're not asking anything other than that. It's pretty simple. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Tell you what. It's interesting. Jobs report today. Little bit better than last month, obviously. Because last month they expected a lot more, but not where people thought it was going to be. The experts, if you will.
A little bit light on the numbers, but the market doesn't necessarily hate it. We're up a little bit. Average hourly wage is up a little bit. And I think that if you look where we're creating jobs, we're creating them in many of the areas you thought we would be. Hospitality and leisure, healthcare, information systems, manufacturing.
JJ Kanan right there talking about that. Let me tell you a little something. Yesterday, I was talking to a guy who is... he has a big car dealership he runs out here. And he had a couple, he needs salespeople. He goes, I'm getting, 20-somethings, 30-somethings coming in. And what they ask for is amazing. Yeah, I don't want to work Sundays. I only want to work 32 hours, but I want it to be full-time. I don't sell, I'm not just going to sell for the sake of selling. And I really don't care about money. First of all, if you're a salesperson, you say, I really don't care about money, probably not going to get the gig. But the demands on which, I want to be here by, like 11, 12, and I'd like to be out here by like 8 at the latest. And he's like, I can put $10,000, I can guarantee you $10,000 a month right now. Guarantee you $10,000 a month. And people still are like, nah. It's interesting to see that. But that younger generation, that's why I keep going back to the office for them. It's not what they want. We're seeing it here. The older sellers, and by older I mean, it's Gen Xers, the 40-somethings and 50-somethings, they're coming back in frequently. The younger sellers don't want to be in here, maybe 1 or 2 days a week. They want to work from home. They like the freedom of that. Same thing goes to a lot of the people that are in an area of some of the other stuff that goes on here in the web and stuff like that. They all want to be able to do it from their house because they were enjoying it. They like that kind of freedom. That's what employers are facing right now. And to get ourselves back to a certain place in a level where we're at that 3% unemployment number, which is usually about 7%, right? So right now we're at, 5.5%, which is probably about 10, if we're honest with ourselves. Employers are going to have to try to make some new rules in their place, if you will, and give people new incentives to get their butts in there. And this is what I've talked to several small business groups, and I keep telling them the same thing. Money isn't what it's about for a younger generation. Yes, there are going to be people there that want to make money, but they want other things. So normally it used to be one of those things where it's like, oh, if I just give you more money, you'll stay. No, they want other things. And that's what I think people need to be aware of, especially business owners right now. This is what you have to do. You're going to have to get people and find what their sweet spot is to get them in there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Happy Friday, Donut Friday. What kind of donut you having today? I had a very warm and hot and fresh cinnamon roll. And I will tell you this, it is as delicious as you would think it is. Text the program, check out the Instagram as well. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The number of jobs created last month is slightly fewer than expected, but nearly double the prior month as the labor market continues a gradual recovery from the pandemic. The unemployment rate fell to 5.8%. A drop in virus cases and federal stimulus are helping unleash a pickup in consumer spending, and that in turn is prompting a demand for workers. A mix of reasons is keeping millions at home, including a desire for remote work when most employers want people in person.
Yeah. All things said and done, not bad, not great. There's going to be more coming out about this, but, you know, they've added some jobs, better than last month, that's for sure. And jobs matter. The economy matters. That's right. The economy matters, stupid. It's like winning. Winning matters. You don't think it matters? Of course it does. It's also a mindset. You ever watch like any kind of sports? You ever watch even bands? When they've got hits, when things are rolling their way, even though there may be issues, even though there may be things going on behind the scenes we don't know about, the reality is they'll ride it. They'll ride it out. Sports is a big thing. You look at that. It's like, man, we just can't stand each other, but we win. Economy's the same way. When the economy's rolling, life's pretty good. That's why they always say it's the economy, stupid. But when it's not, everything is magnified. Everything is. At this point in time, we're moving in a good direction. The question is, what happens from here? Can we continue to see that movement rolling? Are we going to get to a point where we hit a wall? It's possible. But we got a lot of jobs out there still need to be filled, and a lot of people out there are not quite sure they're ready to go back to work for whatever reason. I don't know what those reasons are. Childcare is some of them. Some of them, there's a few people, I'm still worried about the virus. Why'd you say it like that, Chad? Because you and I both know those people are going to be terrified about the virus. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to fix that. No amount of, that's just not going to happen. You're not fixing that issue. So there's a lot that goes into this. But for a lot of people, they've ridden the unemployment side of things. And they're looking around thinking, all right, I got to go back to work now. What do I want to do? We should have done that a while ago. and you've got the opportunity to go out and to be in the driver's seat when you go interview for jobs. And employers need to recognize that. It's not that you have a job opening. It's that you have several of them and you don't have takers. So to get people, you're going to have to incentivize them more. To get people, you're going to have to be creative. To get people, you're going to have to start to think to yourself, all right, I got to get some people in here. What am I going to do? How am I going to build this thing? I can expand rapidly right now. I could take out my competition, but I need to figure it out. When you talk to people and you interview them and you start to find out what it is they're looking for, then you can start to formulate a plan. And then you can get creative. Opportunities now, for sure. If you're somebody seeking a job, but if you're seeking great talent, you can get that. But you got to ask the right questions and you got to be willing to be able to maneuver. I was talking to a guy here he's got a pretty big business and he can't find enough people. And we were chatting the other day, and one of the big things is to talk about, it's wages. Yeah, that's an issue. He goes, but childcare is an issue. And I said, you got all this space, man. Why don't you set up your own childcare for a while? He goes, I didn't even thought of that. I said, yeah. You offer people free childcare or whatever, take it out of the pay. Say, look, normally you'd pay $125. We're going to charge you $50 a week. It's like, that's a great idea. Little things like that go a long way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Are you buying it?
The New York Times reporting U.S. intelligence officials found no evidence that what Navy pilots saw flying at incredible speeds were secret military projects. They also found no evidence they were alien spacecraft, but no evidence that they aren't. Those findings, part of a soon-to-be unclassified report to Congress on unexplained aerial phenomena. There's still concern that a foreign government may have created hypersonic aircraft.
Yeah. Well, if that's true, we're screwed. I go back to, would you rather have it aliens or would you rather have it your enemy? Now, in theory, aliens could be the enemy for all of us. And, well, we don't have, it's not, we don't know if it's an alien. Of course you don't know. We don't have the ship. We can't catch it. But if they've created supersonic, we're talking about, yesterday we were talking about Boom Supersonic and the airplanes that they're creating, that United bought 13 of them with the potential to buy another 35. And these things haven't even been flown yet or built out. But you could go from like Newark to Frankfurt in like 3 hours. Mach 1.7. Well, this is that times 10. So if that's true, and it's an enemy, if you will, not an ally, not a pal, but an enemy, that's kind of scary. And we don't know about aliens, right? Like we don't. I mean, if the aliens, like I said, aliens could be, for all intents and purposes, hostile. Yeah. They could also be not hostile. Possibilities there. But we do know if China, if North Korea, if Russia had that kind of power, that kind of lead in things like this, that's a scary thing because that's the devil we do know. That's the devil we do know. And we don't even know if that other devil exists. And I've said, the more I've thought about it over the last couple of years, I was like, I don't know if it's UFOs as we would think coming from a different world. Not that I don't think that's possible of having that out there. Let's be real. If it's limitless, right? Like if it's totally limitless, if you will, space and everything is limitless. Like there's no, we don't get to a point where we hit a door or a wall and there's nothing else. If that's true, you'd have to think somewhere else. There's got to be something. But getting here might be an issue. But interdimensional, possible. But it'll be very interesting to see how they play this thing out.
Do you believe these sightings are evidence of alien visitors?
Well, George, there's certainly evidence of something. Whatever it is in our skies is real. The question is, what is it? And of course, that you can go down the rabbit hole, or we can look at it from a foreign adversarial perspective. The bottom line is we simply don't know. What we know is that whatever these aircraft are displaying beyond next generation capabilities. And I think what's concerning from a national security perspective, they can outperform anything that we have in our inventory.
And that's the scary part right there. That, to me, is the scary part. That's Lou Elizondo, former director of the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Translation, they're the ones who were kind of, wink, wink, not looking for aliens, but kind of looking for aliens. And we're supposed to be the most advanced. We're supposed to be the ones who are light years ahead of everybody else. We're supposed to be the ones that, yes, China's catching up in the economy, but militarily, they are light years behind us. Russia is light years behind us. North Korea is supposed to be light years behind us. That's scary to think that if this isn't some form of other world, if you will, that our adversaries have stuff that is so far advanced. I remember what one of those Navy, I think it was on the Nimitz, whatever, said, this isn't like 5-10 years ahead of us. This potentially is 1,000 years ahead of anything that we could do. That's scary. Ooh.
What do you say to those skeptics that they say demonstrate more mundane explanations, things like balloons, drones, even the blinking lights of a 737?
Keep in mind that when we see a video, a lot of times there's eyewitness testimony coming in from the pilots, who, by the way, are trained observers. And then there's also radar data. When you have something like that, obviously you're dealing with something that's not an artifact of the camera. You're dealing with a real object. And let's not forget that there's other video footage as well that's taken at the same time from different angles. So I think we have to be very careful coming up with a prosaic explanation without having all the facts in front of us.
Yeah. Translation. Yeah. These aren't idiots. These are the best that we have. They're not going out and saying, "Oh yeah, we all saw it, and we're going to go in and we're going to make something up, and this is what it's going to be, and it's going to be one of those quote unquote, it's a weather balloon." Stop it.
You're a former Marine fighter pilot. I have to ask you, did you ever see anything you couldn't explain?
Not that would be attributable to aliens here, but I do think that we need to think about this from a perspective of science and advancing science, George. There's some conspiratorial undertones to all this that I don't think are useful. I think that anybody that's worked in the U.S. government before knows that the U.S. government is completely incapable of complex conspiracies or keeping sensational secrets. So, Washington leaks like a sieve, and if there were alien remains somewhere, it would have leaked by now. So, point being that Men in Black was not a documentary.
No, but they also do a lot to make sure that some of these things, and if you're a study of any of this stuff, right, good or bad, that for years they enjoyed the UFO conspiracy because they were able to do things with many of our stuff that we have that we see now. And people wrote it off as it's a UFO, it's otherworldly, and it isn't. The difference is the jump that we are seeing now, we're missing something. We're missing potentially 100 years of technology or more that's gone. And that's a very interesting thing. Doesn't have to be alien from another world as we think it. Like I said, could be interdimensional. It could be our adversaries have something that's just greater than we have. Or it could be DARPA and some super secret stuff that we're not even telling anybody else. But it still doesn't explain how that leap was made technology-wise. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Feed it to my dogs every day. It's not food. Canine VitaSmart is a supplement. It's a powder supplement. Put it right on top of your dogs. Just sprinkle it right on top of their food. Probiotics, digestive enzymes, vitamins, omega-3, 6, 9. It's got all these amazing things, and it makes your dog healthier, makes your dogs happier. My dog Doodle, his arthritic hips, you wouldn't even know. His mobility better. He's healthier than it's ever been. His coat is shiny. His teeth are better. It's just amazing to see. We've given it to our puppies. We've started out right. You will try it. How do I know? Because they're going to give it to you for free. Who says no to free? You pay for shipping, they're going to send it out to you. That's what Rough Greens is doing. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Pay for the shipping. They give you a bag free, or you can call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
All right, let's see. What is trending? It has been. Start at Twitter. LeBron's trending. Why? They call him LeCaren now. You guys haven't seen? LeBron, the first time in his career, after 15 career playoff appearances, was eliminated in the first round. Last night, the Suns beat them 113-100. Wasn't even that close. There was a time when it was 45-18. It was ugly. That's when I fell asleep. I wasn't watching the game because it's basketball, and I just don't care, to be honest. I love hockey, but I'm not paying attention. It's crazy. It is like one of those things. It's just, I'm waiting for football season. You know, the European Soccer Championship's coming up, and I'm waiting for football season. That's the kind of world that we're living in now. Don McGahn. People are asking questions. Why is Merrick Garland, Department of Justice, seemingly running interference for Trump? Why is Biden's administration doing that? We're going to touch on that, and I'll tell you why. It's not hard to figure out. It isn't. A lot of people make these things harder than they should. The Wuhan lab leak is also trending on Twitter. And, of course, Donut Day, National Donut Day. Head on over to Google. CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. Mexico and the U.S. will play in the championship game. F. Lee Bailey passed away. 87 yesterday. Super famous. You know, Boston Strangler, Senate. Also, Patty Hearst and this guy named Orenthal James. We'd like to call him OJ. It's a lot right there. It's a lot. It's very interesting. Out of all of those, right, even with the OJ case, to me, the one I still find the most fascinating is Patty Hearst. I just find the whole thing still, you know, Stockholm Syndrome, you know, was it the liberation, the Liberian liberation or whatever the hell it was? It was just, the whole thing is weird. Boom Sonic, we talked about them. They're making jets, maybe, kind of, sort of. And the Avengers Campus. That's right, the Avengers Campus, kids. If you don't know what that is, you're going to need to know because it's about avenging stuff. It opens today at Disney.
After a year-long delay because of the pandemic, Avengers Campus opens today at Disneyland, where on one ride you can flick your wrist and sling webs like Spider-Man. Or interact with characters from Black Panther to Doctor Strange. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige says what stands out most is the detail.
The full immersion into our world. You don't know what character is going to come around the corner in 80 points. Spider-Man swinging above your head. It's the immersion into our world that is really what's exciting about Avengers Campus.
Yep, very exciting. Avengers Campus opens today. Well, to talk about Disney and why people aren't going to Disney, and it's not what you think. Or maybe it is. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's UFOs or not. We're still trying to figure that out. What we do know is we don't know what they are. How's that? Again, I've never claimed aliens, but from another planet. But could they be interdimensional? What about Bigfoot? Huh? What about that? We'll talk about Bigfoot a little bit because, as we all know, I've got my Bigfoot story. I may roll it out. Don't know, but I might do it. One thing I do know is every one of us is dealing with sticker shock. Not just because of medical bills or houses and the pricing of houses right now where it's through the roof and they're just, it's everything. You got shrinkflation where you're buying something, you're paying a lot more for it and you're not getting as much as you used to. There is a little fear. Let's not pretend that there's not a little uncomfortableness going on. Are we heading towards that 1970s, Jimmy Carter inflation where we got to wait for gas every other Tuesday? You can go get gas if your license plate ends in a 0, that kind of baloney. Those are real. We feel that. We absolutely feel that every single day because you put gas in your car. It filled up yesterday. Cost me a lot more. Normally, probably spend $20 less than I did yesterday at the pump. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I can do that, but for a lot of people out there, the struggle is very real. Food's more expensive. It's way more expensive. There's a lot of reasons for that, but at the end of the day, the president is going to be judged on this, whether it's his doing or not. That's the reality of the world that we live in, and people are starting to ask questions like, are we going to get out of this? How's this work? Because, well, for some people, things are good. For other people, they're starting to look around and go, we're feeling this.
Let's turn to infrastructure negotiations just to catch everyone up. President Biden started at $2.3 trillion in his proposal. Republicans started at about $600 billion. Now President Biden has gone down to $1.7 trillion. Republicans say they're at nearly $1 trillion over 8 years. You still want more money for rail, and you still can't agree on how to pay for it. When you and I talked on the show 6 weeks ago about it, you said the president wanted major action by Memorial Day. So what's next? Is the White House going to make another counteroffer?
Yeah. So we've got higher prices and stuff. We've got COVID coming to somewhat of an end as we knew it for the last year. Job situation, what it is, and we still have other things, immigration and infrastructure. The beauty of infrastructure is I think it's something that both sides can kind of get behind. They both talk a good game. They both talk a great game. I like solutions. I like watching people come to a solution. And just like when I have a problem, I want to find out, how do I solve the problem? You want to get rich? Find problems people have and figure out how to solve them. That's how you do it. Government, not so much. They find that the money and the power they seek is inside the problem themselves. Every once in a while, though, they do come to and conclude, like, look, this could be good for all of us. So the negotiation has begun. And one of the things is taxes, minimum wage, things of that ilk that Trump, former guy, fought against and fought for in a lot of ways. Biden, new guy, is fighting for and against in a lot of ways. How do you come to an agreement?
Talks continue as new unemployment claims hit a pandemic low, under 400,000, and the May jobs report out this morning is expected to show even more optimistic news. But the biggest roadblock in the negotiations appears to be the president's new push to close gaps in the tax law.
Let me just give you a simple fact. Last year, for example, 55 of our largest corporations in America paid $0 in federal tax. Zero.
Biden's latest proposal would force corporations to pay at least 15%.
Yeah, but now he's backing away from some of these things. And that's what you do. That's the negotiation. And one of the big things is Biden realizes something. And that something is he needs Joe Manchin. He needs Kyrsten Sinema. And Manchin has said, I'm not going to vote for infrastructure unless the Republicans are a part of it. So what went from 1.5 to 1.7 trillion is now heading back towards that $1 trillion mark. We spend a lot. We need accountability in that spending, but everybody in certain situations needs to be at the table. I think this benefits us all, but I think a lot of that stuff in there was insane, like everything else. Man, somebody, the whole audit thing, somebody's been sending me DMs and saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and I sit there and I laugh, and I said, let me tell you what happens in politics. They crave a few things. Power. Absolutely. Right? Money. And more power. So what do? They take your belief in something and they give you enough of it that keeps you coming back, but they rarely deliver on these things. But again, every once in a great while, they do come together and try to do something right. We have overspent for years, and most Republicans are as bad as the Democrats in spending. They just want to spend it on the stuff that they want to spend it on. Let's not fool ourselves. We have a chance to do something good here, and the Republicans need to be a part of this. We need a strong two-party system that participates.
Well, the president's counteroffer was a $1.7 trillion package. And again, that represents coming off our original view by $500 billion. It is encouraging to see Republicans talking about getting to the neighborhood of $1 trillion. We've been in these discussions in good faith, and there have been really healthy negotiations of the kind that I think people were starting to wonder whether that's even possible in Washington anymore.
Yeah. Pete Buttigieg. They just call him Mayor Pete, but he's not a mayor anymore. Transportation guy. We can come together. It benefits us all. It absolutely 110% benefits each and every single one of us if we can get them come together, because we all have skin in this game. Whether you want to believe it or not, Republican and Democrat, your neighbor who's flying the Trump flag that you can't stand is still your neighbor, is still an American. The person who supports Biden is flying, the Black Lives Matter, still your neighbor, still an American, still a skin in this game. Some of this, a majority of these things we can agree upon. But yeah, this is what give and take looks like. We want $2 trillion. No, we'll give you $600 million. All right, 1.7. We'll give you $800 billion. $1 trillion. We could do $1 trillion. There you go. That's a negotiation. What do you have in there? We got a lot of pork. Well, we got a lot of pork. Let's take some of the pork out. Let's put some of this pork over here. All things that we need to be doing. I wish government operated in a better way, but it doesn't. It's not efficient. It's not a business. It's a business of them making money, but they don't run it like a business. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Bigfoot. So we're talking about UFOs this hour. Guy on TikTok. For those of you guys who know what TikTok is, it's a place where people go and do insane things. Some people go to show all of their bits, if you will. And some people just go there for fun. This guy apparently has been followed by Bigfoot.
All right, my friends, here's another video I call Watching Me. I was walking down in a ravine into the brush, and then I noticed the Sasquatch was watching me. There he is right there. I couldn't tell if it was a male or female, but he's clearly watching me. It's hard to see any kind of facial features. It's dark. He's peeking out of the brush. A lot of people will say, oh, it's a stump.
A lot of people say it's a stump.
but stumps don't follow you.
This part is really high off the ground. I was actually walking downhill, so this is actually really high off the ground. There's no way a stump could be that tall. And I clearly saw it with my own eyes. It was a Sasquatch. I didn't want to get any closer to make it nervous or anything, but it's clearly watching me and keeping an eye on me. I felt that I needed to back away and kind of move back up the hill to give it some space.
Now, I have seen the video. I'm like, eh. But we're getting more and more of these sightings. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Oklahoma has put a bounty on Bigfoot. They invite the world to participate in the $3 million Bigfoot bounty. $3 million. What can go wrong? I will tell you everything. Who's getting shot? First of all, what idiot's going to wear some sort of costume because they're going to think it's funny until they get shot? Could we all raise our hands and think that's going to happen? I have a feeling it's going to happen. And you know what I say? That's what Phil teaches us all. Play a stupid game, win a stupid prize. But yes, Bigfoot. Bigfoot, aliens, it's all happening. It's in the Bible. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So we'll see. We've had Bigfoot. And I got a Bigfoot story. Maybe I'll tell you guys a little later. We've had aliens or not aliens. We're not quite sure. We're not saying what they are. We're not saying what they're not. It's just kind of enough to still tease you, but not quite there. We're kind of there. And, of course, yesterday we had the dinosaurs, which a majority of people still believe that about 100 years ago dinosaurs existed and that some still walk the earth to this day. So that's where we are. And just know this, people. A lot of those people vote. That's all I'm saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Omaha Steaks. Get out and grill. Perfect for Father's Day. I'm a dad. You know what I want? Something that doesn't suck for a present. This doesn't suck. This makes Dad feel good. This can also benefit you. Now, the Get Out and Grill assortment has so much stuff. 20 entrees. The butcher cut strips are incredible. So you get these New York butcher cut strips. They're aged 30 days, which means tenderness. Right? It's kind of like a fine wine. Tenderness as they age. You've got the Jumbo Franks, the steak burgers, the chicken breast, the Omaha steak fries, the caramel apple tartlets, the seasoning. It's all right there. Plus, they're throwing in an extra 4 New York strip burgers absolutely free. So you get this amazing thing for Dad. Dad loves you for it. Dad treats you better than all the other kids. That's why you get to be in Dad's will, and the others don't. So you see what I'm doing there? Painting that picture. Get ahead of it all. Get ahead of your brothers and sisters. Get your dad this. And then Dad rewards you on top of all of that by grilling for you. Get Out and Grill assortment. OmahaSteaks.com. 4 New York strip burgers absolutely free on top of all of the other goodies. OmahaSteaks.com. Keyword Chad. Go right to the search bar at OmahaSteaks.com. Type in Chad. Up pops this. Take advantage of it. OmahaSteaks.com. Keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
The weekend, movies are out, both streaming and at the theaters. And some horror favorites are out.
Lacey's Story stars Julianne Moore as a woman dealing with the murder of her husband. And though it leans into horror, it is Stephen King, Moore tells me it defies genre.
It's drama. It's a love story and a relationship story. There's a great deal of kind of suspense and mystery in it as well.
And she says horror is actually a good way to cope with the turbulent world.
You know, the writer or the creator is literally taking this scary feeling that we have, this anxiety or this desire or whatever, and literally turning it into a monster or another world.
Lacey's Story is out today on Apple TV+.
Top of that, you got the 3rd installment of the Conjuring series, The Devil Made Me Do It, starring Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, of course, who were playing the couple that, I mean, the Amityville Horror. When you go and you look at all of these great things, and they're just going out, and Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're taking from all their files. So this one is it's going to be very interesting because it's another based on a true story. Of course, like anything else, they take it and play with it. But this did happen. It's called "The Devil Made Me Do It," and it is based on a true story of essentially the defense of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, who, when they went to court, his defense was the devil made me do it. It was the first known case in the United States in which the defense sought to prove innocence based not upon insanity, but demonic possession. It's a very interesting story if you've ever read anything about the story, and the Discovery's done a haunting episode, but the people that were involved in this, it's really interesting because there were priests involved. There was another exorcism on a younger boy, and they all still stick to their stories about what took place. So that comes out today, and it's expecting to do some big business as well, as we feel like movies are back. And thank God, man, because have yet to go, but I'm going to go. Have yet to go, but I'm going to go. And part of the reason I've not gone is just because I work so many hours. Now that I get up so early, it's tougher for me to go sit there until 10 o'clock at night knowing I got to get up at 2. But I think this weekend I'm going to make a trek. I think I am. I do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Jobs report out today. A little bit better than last time. Not perfect, but we're moving into a better situation. I've always said the economy, there's still a lag in this because they've pumped so much money in the economy. People, even though they're struggling, some of them are still being able to get by. It's now that we're going to really have to start all participating again, that some of those protections are going to start to go away, especially when it comes to evictions and things of that nature, is when we're going to start to see what this thing really, really looks like. It wasn't perfect. They expected more. We got a little less, but it's starting to pick up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Plus, they're saying there's no aliens, or they're not quite sure. Could be other things. You got Bigfoot. Man, it's all happening. It is all. Are you guys feeling the happening of what's going on? I bet you are. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
U.S. intelligence agencies will present a report to Congress by the end of the month on UFO sightings by members of the military. And according to the New York Times, that report will say the vast majority of documented incidents did not originate from the U.S. military, and the UFOs are not a result of secret government technology. But there's no definitive assessment on whether they are alien life or not.
No definitive proof. Who are they? What do they do? We don't know. That's at the end of this is we don't know. The way they made it out and like a lot of the stuff is there's no aliens. No, there's no proof of it because we can't capture one. Is that like that's we can't. We see something. We can't capture it. It's right there. There it goes. It's over here. It's the military. I don't think they're lying about it. It's probably not good. It's not like the Navy pilots are going to go, "Got great idea, guys. Let's totally lie about something where we'll get ridiculed and maybe lose our jobs, and then people won't hire us in the future." That is a great thing, because that's what we've been trained for. No, we just don't know. So it's a difference of there's no such things as, we're not quite sure.
The New York Times reporting U.S. intelligence officials found no evidence that what Navy pilots saw flying at incredible speeds were secret military projects.
That's the other side of it. So if they're not aliens, then they're ours? No, they're not ours? Ooh. Are they China's? Oh. Are they Russia's? Oh. North Korea? That would be the next thing, wouldn't it? I mean, in theory, if we're going to be honest about it, if we're saying to ourselves, okay, we don't think it's Russia. I mean, we don't think it's aliens. So, and we know it's not us. So if it's none of those things, it means that it's potentially an enemy. Or the third thing is somebody, Elon Musk, has figured out ways to jump hundreds of years technology-wise ahead of us, that he could be the new Lex Luthor. It's a possibility.
Do you believe these sightings are evidence of alien visitors?
Well, George, there's certainly evidence of something. Whatever it is in our skies is real. The question is, what is it? And of course, that you can go down the rabbit hole, or we can look at it from a foreign adversarial perspective. The bottom line is we simply don't know. What we know is that whatever these aircraft are displaying beyond next generation capabilities. And I think what's concerning from a national security perspective, they can outperform anything that we have in our inventory.
That is Lou Elizondo, former director of the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Translation, we're not quite sure what it is, so let's make sure that we have people prepared, and let's search for aliens or whatever else that we can no longer identify. Remember now they're with the UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Boop, 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 boop. But he said next generation. You've heard people who've said, we're not talking about, like, they're not like, this isn't one of those things where they're essentially technology-wise at 2025, they're not there. And we're still stuck at 2021. People are saying they're hundreds and thousands plus years ahead of us technology-wise. So what does that mean? It's interesting. It's a very interesting thought. And it matters in a lot of different ways. First of all, we can play the conspiracy game and, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say it's not aliens and it's China. Okay? Let's just throw that out there. It's China and or Russia or both. Guess who wins? They do. That's who wins. Think about that for a second. They win. Why? For all the things they're reporting, think about the stuff they've talked about. The fact that some of these things have not only breached our radar, at times they've gone into areas that are super secure with nuclear capabilities as far as the things that we have, and controlled those or shut them down. So that means if this is an alien technology and it's not ours, then it's probably somebody we see more in an adversarial way rather than a friendly way, which means we're not dominant. We're not the beacon of hope. We're whatever they're going to tell us we are eventually. Little things to think about. Do I think it's little green men? I don't know. Would I be surprised if it was something from somewhere else? No. I've always been more of a interdimensional kind of thing, bending time and space, and maybe every once in a while it's like, like if you're coloring, you're supposed to stay in your lines of time, and every once in a while we get outside those lines or they get outside their lines, and that's a possibility, but you don't know. But when you read these things, what are they saying? We don't know what it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Jobs, 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 jobs. Today, jobs report out. Was it good? Was it bad? Interesting is probably the best way to describe the job numbers today. Interesting. But there's a lot to read into it. And jobs matter because as the economy goes, so goes you, your business, everything.
A little bit light on the numbers, but the market doesn't necessarily hate it. We're up a little bit. Average hourly wage is up a little bit. And I think that if you look where we're creating jobs, we're creating them in many of the areas you thought we would be: hospitality and leisure, healthcare, information systems, manufacturing.
Yeah. Jobs are being created in certain areas. Other places, they're a little light. That's to be expected because some areas are still, some places are still much more shut down, even though they're going to be coming out in the coming weeks and, all bets are off then. And you've still got a lot of different ways that employees are starting to employ, want to get back in the employment market. Some of them are trying to find that perfect job. Some of them are still holding off because of, the whole thing with unemployment. There's a lot that goes into this. But as the economy goes, we go. So it's the great saying, right? It's the economy, stupid. If your economy's good, if you feel like things are good, you're not worried about your job, you can pay your bills, and you're not worried about where your next meal's coming from, life's a little bit smoother. I think we'll start to see what it really looks like, though, in the coming months, because there's a lag to what a real economy is going to look like. There's a lag there because there have been plenty of protections for people. And when you have that, and that starts to slowly go away, the realization of what they face now is going to, I think, be a little bit stark for some people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, and then, of course, we must remind everybody of the greatness of this Friday, the first Friday in June.
Donuts have their origins in the oily cakes Dutch settlers brought with them to America. The word donut making one of its first appearances in Washington Irving's 1809 book, A History of New York. But when it comes to that classic ring shape of the donut, we have to sprinkle some credit on the Gregory family name. 16-year-old Hanson Gregory was tired of the greasiness of those Dutch cakes, so he punched a hole in the middle of it with a tin box back in 1847. His mom Elizabeth then putting hazelnuts or walnuts in the center where the dough might not cook all the way through. She called the food donuts.
Yeah. Why we celebrate it today has all to do with World War I and the Salvation Army and some of the volunteers that went over there and set up essentially what was kind of like a hut, they called it, in some of the buildings that were abandoned. And the things they created were donuts. It was just easy for them to do. And you had two ladies who created all of these donuts, and the servicemen and women called them donut dollies because they created all of these amazing donuts, and it started to spread about that, and then they started showing up, and they went from making a few to hundreds of donuts a day, as well as hot coffee, kind of what goes on now when you go to a place like Dunkin', and so many places today, Dunkin' and Krispy Kreme are all giving away donuts. So take advantage of it. I did. I had my donut, posted a picture of it. You can check it out. Instagram, at Chad Benson Show. Same thing with Twitter, at Chad Benson Show. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show. That's your Twitter, your Instagram. CarShield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance. That's nice. It's very relieving to know, right? You're not paying for a tow truck. It also helps you with rental cars. Make sure you have that, and trip reimbursement, and Car Shield. Make sure that you choose the shop that you'd like to get your car fixed if and when that check engine light comes on. So instead of panicking, getting frustrated and angry, you take a deep breath and go, oh yeah, I got Car Shield, America's #1 auto protection company. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield. They have plans to start as low as $99 a month, whether your car's got 5,000 or 150,000 miles on it. Whether you're worried about your engine, your GPS, your air conditioning, Car Shield has a plan that's right for you, and it's affordable. So what I want you to do right now, go to carshield.com/Benson. carshield.com/Benson. When you do, you save 10%. Protect yourself, protect your car, protect your wallet. carshield.com/Benson. Saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Irreverent? Yeah. So what? It's the Chad Benson Show.
We're on the right track. Our plan is working, and we're not going to let up now. We're going to continue to move on. I'm extremely optimistic. I hope you are as well.
You sound it. President Biden there. Yeah, it's pretty good. Things are all right. I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, I think things are okay. Sound good. A little bit more, man. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. That's all we're asking. He's great with the empathy. Let's. Trump is. I always said he's the Anthony Robbins of politicians. Biden. He's more of the Dalai Lama. Just a little bit more subdued. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. So we've had all kinds of ransomware attacks. And the reality is it's getting uglier and uglier. I saw an article there. We need to regulate. Regulation's not going to fix this problem. What are you regulating? I'm curious. What are you going to regulate? How do you regulate criminals? You guys, we regulate banks. Does it stop people from trying to rob banks? No, it doesn't. Do people still rob banks? They do. The difference is these people are robbing in places that we don't have a reach because they're protected. In particular, Russia.
As major cybercrime becomes a national security concern on par with terrorism, the Biden administration may be poised to strike back. American intelligence agencies could spy on foreign cyber criminals as authorities contemplate launching cyber operations against hackers inside Russia. From Fort Meade, military hackers could wield cyber weapons powerful enough to take down foreign networks, rendering their computers useless.
Then why don't you? Well, we don't want to start a war. Well, this is what we're in now. So cyber warfare is the war that we're fighting, unless, of course, the aliens / whatever technology that's flying around and our Navy and stuff sees isn't actually technology from another dimension or from beyond that it's actually China or Russia. At that point in time, we're in a lot of trouble. But this is going to get worse before it gets better. So I should hope the people at Fort Meade are on the attack all the time and spying all the time. That's your job.
The White House warns no corporation is safe. An urgent new memo to major companies reads, business executives should immediately convene their leadership teams to discuss ransomware threat and ensure you have the ability to continue or quickly restore operations.
Yeah.
Is it possible to stop these attacks?
There needs to be a disruptive force put in place. There needs to be a deterrence. And until the government stops the people doing it, then this will continue.
Yeah. And it's got to be, you're not going to do it, right? So if you're running a hospital, because this happens a lot in places like that, you're not going to be like, we need to hire 50 hackers. Maybe you need to start thinking about it. Maybe you need to start thinking about not just hiring people that are your quote unquote IT / your, we're going to use this software to stop this, but actually start hiring people that can go on the offensive early. But also you need to start thinking as a business forward. Maybe we spend a little bit more backing up and doubling our servers and our protection, all the while keeping them offline. So should we get hacked or attacked, we immediately blow up the first one and start the second one. But at the end of the day, government's got to be the one on the attack. That's it. They're attacking us. We should be attacking them every day. Can't believe that. And should we do this? Of course we should. That's what I hope you do. That's the new part of it, right? It's the federal government. You protect our borders, we have our military, and our cyber warfare now. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Why is this so hard? Why is it so hard to find the source of this outbreak that's killed more than 3 million people around the world? 600,000 people here in the United States, has upended our lives and our economy. Is it because China is so opaque? Is it because WHO is not sharing information? Why is this so difficult?
There are several reasons, Willie, why it's difficult. I think one of the things is that we need better access to all the information. I mean, it's obviously in China's interest to find out exactly what it is.
Dr. Fauci. Of course it's in China's interest. But China is about who? Anyone? Anyone? I said the WHO, World Health Organization. No, but China is about themselves. So Dr. Fauci can talk about it all he wants. It's in their best interest. Yes, it's in their best interest that they find out before anybody else finds out. Because if they find out first, essentially, if they beat everybody to it, which I think they already have, then it's easier to essentially kill before it becomes a stain on the Communist Party, which is all China cares about. They don't care about the people. They care about the party.
I think the accusatory part about it is only going to get them to pull back even more. We've got to do it in a combination of diplomacy, scientific, forensic investigation, and do it in a way that the people of good faith, not who want to do blame, but people in good faith are really trying to find out what the origin is. And we're seeing a lot of pointing of fingers and things like that. Keep an open mind and go after the truth.
So pour a little sugar on it and somehow access. They'll give everybody access and tell us the truth. You believe that. Now, I know Dr. Fauci walks the fine line. He comes, first of all, he's part of, I think it's more and more relevant to this is the gain of function and how he participates and what he thinks about gain of function. If you go and look and you find out what gain of function is, the big fear of gain and function, for the guys of you who don't understand it, is, and Brett Weinstein talked about this, as well as his wife Heather Hang, who've been really, 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 really open about this early. And these are two people that are on the left side of the aisle. But one of the things he's talked about is the fact that how this thing developed, how it went, . 'Cause and how it spread shows you the fear of gain of function. And the fear has been two things. One, you're playing with fire so you can try to figure out how to stop the fire. But the bigger fear for a lot of people is you're playing with fire and you've lost control of the fire. You engineered something in hopes to figure out how to stop it. But instead of that, it got out. And when you listen to people who are biologists, epidemiologists, virologists, when you listen to them talk about how things spread from point A to point B, it eventually jumps from the animal kingdom to a human, and then that's its host. But the minute it gets there, it's unfamiliar with the host. Doesn't understand it. It's here. I'm looking around. I'm trying to adapt. I'm trying to figure this thing out. I might go over here. I might go, I don't quite get it. Maybe, and so usually it either kills the host or the host figures it out. The antibodies in the bodies, fight it off, and as it develops the antibodies, and it doesn't have a chance to jump to another host and then jump to another. It takes a while. That's why new viruses from nature rarely spread in such a way that it causes the pandemic. This didn't do that. This got out and was familiar with the host. Knew everything. You ever bought a house, or those houses that are all in what's it called? Like, track homes. It's like every third house or fourth house is the same. Oh, it's their same floor plan. It's kind of what it is. It's a floor plan. That's how it adapted so fast. Why? Well, probably because it was introduced. That's how it got out. Fauci, in his hopes of gain of function, and he's been a proponent of it. There's no doubt that there are serious issues and conflicts, and he's trying to figure out how he walks a fine line, because he also comes at it from the people over there. Some of them he knows very well, and he knows that they could be blamed for stuff. And in China, the difference between being blamed for stuff over there, the canceling in China compared to canceling here are two separate things. Canceling here is everybody goes on Twitter and says you shouldn't have a job, and you get fired, and everybody gets, and then they take away your television show or whatever it is, and, sponsors leave you or whatever happens, and people are angry. Canceling over there is you walk into a room and then all of a sudden you don't walk out. He understands that.
You say it's in China's interest, though. Would you agree, though, Dr. Fauci, it is in their interest to hide it if there was a lab leak, or worse, if they were designing something in their lab so that the world, that America didn't know that it came out of their own lab? Wouldn't they want to conceal that?
Yeah, I don't want to be speculating on that, because every time I say something like that, you know it as well as I, it will get completely taken out of context. So, I'm going to leave that to other people and not surmise and guess whose interest it is. It's not helpful.
It's an easy answer. Yes, it's in their best interest to hide it. Right? It's in their best interest to not let it out. It's in their best interest to make sure that the world doesn't find out, because the world has to make decisions at that point in time. Was it done on purpose? Wasn't it done on purpose? Did it just escape? Just Barney Fife. The emails show a lot, but there are memos out there that show a lot more. And a lot more of that is, by the way, we are not off the hook here either, because we had thrown some money at it. Now, it came in roundabout ways, and we gave to other nonprofits who ended up giving to this, and we knew there were certain things about this that there were, we might have some issues here as other countries. But yes, it's in China's best interest. And it does matter where it came from. It does. And you shouldn't be branded a nut job. There's a difference between, like, you look at the audit that's going on here, right? So you got this audit. run by cyber ninjas. They're raising money. That's all this audit has become. It has become a money-raising machine. They are raising tens of thousands of dollars. That it's a Ponzi scheme that's legal. They're raising money to raise more money. But when you look at the difference between like the conspiracy and all this stuff is, yeah, both of them had Trump to do with it. But you look and you say to yourself, all right, so you've audited it. You've done sample audits. You've brought in several different companies to help with audits. You've done all of these things, and you didn't like the answer you got. Now you're going into a deeper kind of audit, but only for a portion of the state. You've brought in people that already believe that it was rigged. But you're also saying stuff like they took the original ballots and they burned them and fed them to chickens. That's one of the things they said. One of the other things is it's 40,000 votes were brought in from South Korea, bamboo paper. Like all of this kind of wackiness and craziness. That's a conspiracy where after a while you're like, no. This is not a conspiracy. These are just theories and scientific theories that you try to break yourself down and find out if they're real. But one is very real. The other one, no matter how many times they investigate, never seems to change, but they still keep going back to the well. But you're branded both as a nut job if you believe in either of them. And that's not a good thing. It doesn't help us. I still don't think we'll ever figure it out, but I will throw this at you. If I told you today you had to bet your house, and I'm going to give you two scenarios that have nothing to do with politics. So there's no politics involved. You don't know about Donald Trump. You don't know about anything. You don't know about Wuhan, any of this stuff. I'm just going to say there's a place that does specific research of which one of them is gain of function in the coronavirus world, which means they're altering these viruses by introducing things into them to essentially evolve them in hopes that should there be a spread one day that they can come to a quicker way to fight it. If it is to jump from animal to human and the human fast. And they do this specific stuff at a lab in A. So City A. World B is it jumped from an animal at a time when the animal's not around because it's not that season at a marketplace into a human and then spread rapidly because it had become that evolved in that first jump. So this one does all of this stuff and it doesn't have great history as far as security. And this over here is the it jumped from species here that's not around this time of year over to a human being, but you have to bet your house on one. Which one do you think you do it with? A, correct. I think most people would. If you took out the politics. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. I'm going to go golfing a little bit later. Guess what I'm having in my ears? Raycons. Work out later today. Guess what I have in my ears? Raycons. My little case. So you get the charging case. That's what it is. You charge it up. And you can take it with you, and it charges your earbuds when they're not in. New soft gel tip right into your ears. Even better noise isolating fit. Better sound quality. Better design. So many colors. 45-day money-back guarantee. Get yourself these. Summer's here. Great gift for dad. Save big. No stems, no wires. Seamless Bluetooth pairing. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save an extra 15%. They already start well under $100. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
It's not just a single, there's a job open, we need workers, and then there's workers. Sometimes people have left the workforce, and even if that person is ready to come back, that exact job may not be available.
Yeah. Deidre Bolt there talking about jobs report and why there's still plenty of jobs available. People aren't filling them. Jobs weren't as big numbers-wise for May as people thought. Decent, but not great. You know.
The recovery is going to be faster, but it is not a straight line up. So I think most people that I was speaking with this morning say today's figures were a modest disappointment. The one thing that I think we can underline is the fact that jobs added were revised higher for the previous 2 months. So it's showing you that the trend is moving higher. We're moving in the right direction. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, time. Time. That's it. People still have issues with it, worried about their health, childcare, the job that I want, that was there, isn't there. I don't know if I want to do something else. That's why I keep saying to people, look, you're not marrying this next job. You're not. You don't have to. But getting out there is something that needs to be done.
Both former President Trump and President Biden have really passed these big muscular measures, which is making our economic recovery better and faster than it was after the last shock in from 2007 to 2009, where it took us a decade to get all of the jobs back.
Yeah. And remember, the difference between then and now is this wasn't based on a house of cards per se. The 2008 was that was just ready to fall apart. This entire situation was somewhat man-made on the health side of stuff. And because of that, it wasn't because people weren't living a great life and it was all a lie. It was out of nowhere comes something and people had their jobs shut down, their businesses shut down. It wasn't because of mismanagement. It was just a situation. So I would expect jobs to come back sooner. My question is, what's the economy really look like when the money dump stops? And what happens when this, the eviction moratoriums end and people now are being told that, hey, you got to make that car payment now. You don't get that protection that you once did. Those kind of things are going to be very interesting to see because that's the lagging indicator for a lot of people who've been able to survive and get by are going to have to answer those questions. Be interesting. So we've talked to UFOs or UABs, unidentified aerial phenomenons, UABs. We have talked the Bigfoot. We have talked dinosaurs this week. We've talked jobs. We've talked viruses. We've talked politics. For once in a while, though, I like to talk a little bit about love. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I'm a sucker for love. I am. I'm a sucker for love. Very romantic. Nothing gets more romantic than this. Man, woman, right there in the middle of their vows. When towards the end of the I do part, she collapses and dies. Everybody's panicking. What to do? She's got a younger sister. She does. We'll just put her in the other room and tell that sister it's her lucky day. She gets me. That happened. That's weird. By the way, it's the second time that has happened. Not so much like the death part, but a groom ran away in India from being married. And the family said, well, his brother's here. See, kids, love is real. All right? So don't be a cynic. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again on Monday. As always, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.